year is flying by. Does everybody agree? Oh my goodness. Really? Why did you pick this song? Hey, Aunt Karen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. And so it's Tuesday. It's I Choose Me. Hashtag no more excuses. It's about perspective with the Paulings. And so every first Tuesday of the month on the platform of I Choose Me, me and Rondell, my hubby, we come together and we just have an actual conversation. Just call him Ron. I call him Rondell though. Anyway, but we just have a real conversation where we just talk about real things that people go through. Or things that we just don't even think about, even in perspective. When we think of the perspective of the way men and women see things, it'd be like totally opposite. Even though we have the same ideas and we're going to the same location, our approach is totally different. And so I guess we could turn down the music. At this time, I just want to first of all start by welcoming everybody who's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to Tuesday Night Perspective with the Paulings. And today our topic, hey Aina, thank you for tuning in. Hey Sapphire, thank you for tuning in. And so we always like to start with our motto. And our motto is, I pledge to embrace who I am today, love who I was yesterday, and inspire who I will become tomorrow. And so that's what the journey of I Choose Me is all about. It's about loving who you are today by embracing who you were it's about embracing who you are today by loving who you were yesterday so that you can inspire your tomorrow, so that you can show up in your tomorrow. And so that's the purpose of showing up for yourself and embracing that the journey is all about the process of you getting closer to your supreme moment of destiny. And so it's required. And so on this week, we're going to talk about, what's the topic we came up with the other day? Now, everybody who know, when we sit in here, people come over and we really have a thinking tank. So we got into a good old conversation the other day with, was that yesterday? No, that was Sunday. Sunday is about, I think about 6 of us, and it's good. Miss Chris, Lamont, Sapphire. So we always sitting around talking, and we were talking about, are you in need of a new book?
No.
But what were we talking about?
We were talking about the book, people being in the same book but on different pages.
That's what we was talking about. And we learned how we had different perspectives, because I was saying that you cannot be, for you to have your best relationship, for you to have that relationship that you, in all your relationships, the one that works for you is about not just being in the same book, but being on the same page. And so it took about, I think, an hour of debating before I got Rondell to see what I was talking about. And so we'll go through the journey of the topic of our perspective on, are you in need of a new book? And so we talking about, and we looking at our lives as if it's a book, and how you go through each chapter and you go through each thing, and it's all a part of your story. And so the book represents your journey. Now, being on the same page represents the people who I think are divinely connected in a specific way on your journey. Now, I'm going to let Rondell start. Because you were so intense about the whole thing. So I'm going to let you start with the idea of, are you in need of a new book? So let's talk about what that means.
Okay, basically this is what we were saying. I came to I told myself that you can be in the same book but on different pages. Mm-hmm. In other words, you can be in a relationship, but with both of you guys, whatever you are in a relationship, whether it's a business relationship, a friend relationship, mm-hmm. a husband and wife relationship, a girlfriend and boyfriend, a girlfriend and girlfriend, or whatever relationship you got, church relationship, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. What I was saying was, as long as y'all in the same book, y'all don't necessarily have to be on the same page, because people think and do things totally different. Doesn't mean that we don't want the same ending result. Mm-hmm. So it was brought to my attention that you can't have the full potential of your relationship if you guys are not on the same page. So it breaks it down to people like me. Ever been to school? Everybody reads out loud. I was a kid that always forgot, lost the place, because I don't like reading. It's not a good thing, but it's just something I don't like to do. I don't like it's boring to me. Mm-hmm. So I can read a whole book and it won't even remember what I just read. I've done it before, over and over. Like I've never been the one that can sit down and study. If you show it to me, if I can remember it, then I got it. If I don't, then I don't got it. Mm-hmm. But that's just how I've been. But anyway, I'm the kid in the class that would always lose a spot when they did open reading. Mm-hmm. Okay, sometimes they'll be on the next page and I'll still be on the old page. I just dazed out. And in your relationship, what happens is sometimes people doze out of the relationship,
right?
Becoming unpresent at the time. That doesn't mean that you can't catch them up to speed. Because in class, I got caught. Oh, we're on page such and such. Oh, the next paragraph. Oh, they tell you the word that we're at. So in your relationships with the epitome that I got out of that conversation was sometimes people can read ahead of you, or vice versa. You can read ahead of some people. So in that instance, if you're ahead of somebody in your book and y'all in the same book and you're ahead on the page, or even if you're in the next page, you need to stop. Go back, bring them up to part so y'all can be on the same page, same paragraph, same book. If you're not on the same page, you cannot get the full potential of your relationship. You can't do it. I try to debate it. I try to argue. Yes, you can. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, if we're not on the same thing at the same time, somebody's going to get the short end of the stick somewhere.
Absolutely. And so this is what the debate was going back and forth. Was about being in the same book and how as long as you're in the same book, it doesn't matter what part of the book you in. And I said that's what happens when we get in our relationships. When we're on the journey in our relationships and we think it's okay to either leave somebody behind or move forward in the story. Now, when you choose to do that in a story, somehow the pages are in between is how we get lost in communication. Those pages that we leave in between our relationship with our spouses, with our friends, with the people that matter the most, when we leave too much space in between where you are and where I am, you somehow drift apart. And so when you're thinking about your story, I said the book represents all the people on your journey. Meaning from beginning to end, the people that you meet, the people that matter, the people that taught you a lesson, the people that you release, that's all a part of your book. Now your page, it should entail that one person, that to-go-to person, that person that knows you like the back of your hand, the person that treats you as if you were treating yourself. On that page, that person should always be with you because you would never turn without them. And so why you need to be on the same page for the most fruitful relationships is because you will not make the mistake of leaving behind somebody that matters. You won't make the mistake of misunderstanding somebody that matters. Now, when I say on the same page, it does not mean that you agree with that person all the way. That's not what the page means. No. What being on the same page means is that...
I'm going to give you an example. Being on the same page, like I'm going to give an example of my relationship. We're trying to save money, right? She's a saver. I'm a spender. I'm going to buy whatever I want to buy when I want to buy it. That's just how I am. I can't help it. So if we're on the same page of trying to save money, then I have to get on board with her. So I know myself. I know I'm going to spend $20 here, $20 there. I think it's not a big deal. It's only $20. But I can save. I can do a lot of saving. So in effort to stay on the same page with her to get to the common goal, which is to save money, I give her my money.
Yes, ladies. He gives me his money.
Give her my money because she's going to make sure we save it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? She's going to make sure everything gets taken care of. I'll forget. I'll mess it up. So that's why we have to be on the same page when it comes to saving. That's just an example that I can give out of my life. You got an example?
Now, an example that I can give out of my life is being on the same page is wanting to, prime example, me being able to stay home with our 5 kids. Now, he's always seen, you know, his mom work and his dad work, and he always seen that. Now, when I decided that we were going to have kids, or when we decided we was going to take the next step, I never wanted to not be able to stay home. And so we had to get on the same page in order for this to work out for us. Because if I had the desire of staying home and he saw it as me having to go out and work, and we couldn't come to a common understanding where I was able to explain to him or help him see the vision that I had. So before we turned the page and just went in separate ways, or let him go ahead and me stay behind, we agreed that when we put the facts on the table, that this works for both parties in mind, right? Or both of us. It has to work for the greater good of both of us, which means we have to respect each other's approach. We have to respect each other's opinion, and we have to be open to have the conversation. So being on the same page means you're open to have the conversation, because the relationship that you're dealing with matters that much. Do y'all get that? Being on the same page does not mean that you saw it the way they saw it, or that you get it the way they get it. What it means that you're willing to come to a resolution and a plan that's going to fit for both parties in the scenario where everybody leaves happy, so that when we turn the page, we remain together. So when we go to the next chapter, we are on one accord. Being on the same page means you're on one accord. And when you forget that, when you get lost in translation, when you start to think that you know all the answers, or when you start to think that you know best, or when you start to think that somebody doesn't get you, those are the little things that we tell ourselves that are designed to break down our relationships.
Now, let me give another example. Okay, a business example. When you have partners in business. I have a cousin. Has a car dealership, but it's like him and a couple other guys. The other guy, like, it's two of them. It's four of them. So him and another guy is on the same page. Mm-hmm. The other two guys, that's a part of the four, they just want a car lot. That's it. My cousin, he thought bigger. Oh, we got a lot. We got this space. Why don't we have U-Haul trucks? He got a U-Haul. Now they're renting U-Haul trucks and also selling cars. Okay, wow. Let's start towing cars. We just want to sell. Now, because you got two that just want to sell cars and two that is doing bigger than just selling cars. Mm-hmm. Now you have two different people in the same book, but on different pages. Mm. So now, eventually in that relationship, they're probably going to be two go this way and two going to go that way.
They're going to drift apart.
They're going to drift apart eventually.
Eventually. When you don't see eye to eye, eventually when you get comfortable with being on a different page with the people and the relationships that you are keeping,
you become unpresent.
There you go. You become not there.
Not there.
What the aha moment that I got when we were talking about that was exactly what he just brought up. In order to be on the same page, it means that we are both present
in the relationship.
In the relationship right here, right now, at this time. That's what being on the same page means. Means that I'm not ahead of you and I'm not behind you. I'm present with you. And if we're on the same page when it's time to fix stuff, we can always be on one accord to figure out where we got lost in the process. Where we got lost on the journey. We're able to figure that out because we haven't lost each other in between the story. And so remember, we started by saying, are you in need of a new book? Now that is the question. The question is, when you sit and think about the relationships that you have and the story that you are writing for yourself, do it fall in line? Does it fall in line with the vision that you see for your life? The relationship you see for yourself? The family that you want for yourself? The friends that you want for yourself? If you're finding yourself in your life and everything about the story just doesn't put your mind and your heart at ease, it's because maybe you're writing the wrong story. Maybe you're in the wrong book. And fear stops us from showing up in our stories and stops us from being able to be present to make the right decisions so that we can master or maneuver through our journey in a way that we get to grow, that we get to understand, that we get to unleash our powers. But if we're walking or we're in a story that we don't even want to be a part of, we forget to show up. We begin to move further and farther away from our destination, and apart and farther away from the story that we're creating for ourselves. Am I right?
You're right.
And so, those of you that have you been willing to work? Yes, Gigi said, have you been willing to work? Those of you who are thinking about, if you're sitting there thinking about your stories, tell me, say yes on there if your story is making sense to you. Do you think that the book that you're creating is the divine, is it your divine assignment? Is the book that you're creating, are your relationships authentic? Are you in real relationships? Meaning, can you get to the same page?
That. Some relationships are fiction and some of them are non-fiction. You got to get rid of, you get to a certain point of age in your life, you got to put down the fiction books. Start writing non-fiction books.
And start living in your reality and living in your truth and telling your story and embracing the people and the relationships that are put before you. But the question is, when you think about your life and you think about your journey, are you being authentic in your story? Are you being authentic in your relationships? Because if you lack the authenticity, then you change the story. You change the ability to be on the same page with the person that you're spending your time with. You change the ability to give them the right to be on the same page. Because if you're not being honest with who you are, then how can you expect people to show up and be who they are? Exactly. How can you rise?
You're not being who you are. How can you reach your full potential of who you're supposed to be?
And if you're scared to show up as who you were created to be, how can you be writing real stories? How can you be creating real stories? How can you be creating a divine connection? Because if I have a divine connection, that means it's bigger than me. That means something in the way I was built, something in the way I was shaped, something about our journey has connected me to somebody else. But if I'm not showing up in my story, if I'm not showing up in my greatness, if I'm not showing up and being authentic, then I am not having the relationship that was designed for me. And so then I have to ask, am I in need of a new book? And I might be in need of a new book, not because of the people who are around me, but because I never showed up as who I am. And so the story I have been created wasn't mine anyway. I have been taking information and stories from everybody else and trying to make it work for my life. And so nothing is working. My friendships aren't working. My relationships aren't working. My kids aren't working. Nothing about my life seems to be lining up. It's because I haven't been authentic with me. So the question is, how do you show up in your life to be authentic enough to create the stories of your heart, to create the stories that you were designed to create? And are you ready to turn the chapter in your book, therefore giving yourself the opportunity to reach the end? Are you trying to come to a spot? Now, we talked about the other day, I think I was watching somebody on live, and I think they were showing a P. Diddy video. And P. Diddy was talking about how Puffy was talking about how, you know, the sacrifices he made to be who he is today, and how his journey was what it was, and that he worked for 2 years for free. He worked for 2 years for free because he believed in who he was, because he believed in the story that he had. Not the story that other people saw, but the story that he knew that was in him. And so he began to walk on his path. And one of my girlfriends, because another time we were sitting here having a conversation at the time, and she was saying, well, do you believe that just because you are going in direction, it's not guaranteed? And I said, let me tell you something, it is guaranteed. You know why it's guaranteed? I said, if I was sitting here right now and I decided I wanted to go to New York and I put it in my GPS, it does not matter how long it's going to take me. It doesn't matter if I decide to take the car, the plane, the train, or if I walk. As long as I know where I'm going and I continue to get in action and I move toward my goal, I will get to New York. So, in order for you to live the life that you want to live, in order for you to be who you want to be, you have got to be able to stand up, decide where you're going and make a clear path and start walking toward that way to create the story of your dreams, to create the story of your life. It requires you to show up and know who you are so that you know where you're going. But if you continue to keep on going in wrong directions because you haven't taken the time to figure out who you are or what you're even supposed to be experiencing, you miss out on the greatest gift, which is you showing up and giving your peace. You wanted to say what? What did Tamika say?
Tweety right. Tweety say some people change their story based on the person they are in a relationship with. And sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. You right.
Absolutely. And that is what happens with your book.
Those are what you call the fiction books.
The fiction books. The people who I'm going to be whoever you want me to be. Instead of being who I am and allowing you to meet me and love me for me. You see, the breakdown happens when you're in a relationship. The real you eventually going to show up. You can pretend, but for so long. And when the real you show up, it creates a lot of problems in a relationship. Why? Because you were trying to pretend to be what somebody wanted you to be instead of being who you was, because that was enough. And that's the come I say that I choose me is so important, because in order to have good relationships, and I'm talking about every area of your life, you have got to know that you were born enough. You have got to know that you are worthy of great relationships. You got to know that you are worthy of to be in a good relationship. You got to know you are worthy to have the best life has to offer. You have to understand that no matter what you've been through, it doesn't take away from who you are supposed to be. Matter of fact, it makes you greater. It molds you into your greatness. And so what I'm saying, that in order to get to where you're supposed to go, you got to show up as the real you. Because who you are is amazing. Who you are, somebody is waiting to take care of. Somebody is waiting to give back to. Somebody is waiting to sow into. Somebody is waiting to just change your life. But because we're so busy and so afraid of being who we were created to be, we miss out on all our blessings and our divine connections with our relationships, because we're hiding out ourselves. We're hiding out the best parts that make us who we are. So go ahead. I'm going to let you take the floor. Okay. So
at this time, I'm going to do a motivational poem.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
You silly. Anyway, go ahead. So if you're at Tamika saying yes. So in your relationships, somebody to help you write that amazing. Somebody tell you.
You need somebody to help you write that amazing book for real. I like that.
Here I go. Yeah. Here I go.
What you mean?
But go ahead, cause I'm about to find my poem for the week.
Okay.
But don't leave them out there. I mean,
leave them out there like what?
So Nakia, I see you on there. My question is for you, Kia, cause I said we're gonna have a real conversation. When you were on your journey, wasn't there a time when you had to rewrite your story? Wasn't there a time when you had to change your book? Wasn't there a time? I think at some point we all have to rewrite our story. A good time for me was I was creating my chapter, and then I relocated. I moved somewhere with my cousin I'm talking to now, Nakia. She was down here, I was in New York, and I decided to change my story because I seen where I was. And I knew that I can always go back, but I knew who I was, and I knew that I could be me no matter where I was. And so I decided that I was going to change my story. And I relocated. And look at my chapters now. I was able to find the love of my life at 19. I was able to have 5 wonderful kids, make some of the best friends when I came down here. Like some of the most amazing people I've met on my journey. And it was because I decided to change my story, because I didn't like the way my book was going, or I wasn't content with it, and I wanted more, and so I was willing to do something different to get something more. And so sometimes it's time to spice up your story, spice up the chapter, put a little bit more of you in it, change it up a little, do something different, right? Change it up so that you can get what you want. If you're in your story and it's not exciting you. Life should be exciting. You should be enjoying every day. You should be enjoying your relationship.
If you got a bookmark in your book, It's time to get another book.
Ooh. See, he be trying to go deep on us, right? He said if you got a bookmark in your book, meaning if you've been standing still in your life, it's time for you to get a new book.
Get a new book.
Because something about your story, something about that book is not keeping you into it. It's not keeping... What was that?
That's my
oh, goodness.
A new book, a new boo, a new business.
Oh, I like that.
New.
Stop letting people... Stop letting bookmarks hold up your story. If it's getting too boring, liven it up. Do something different. If you're in a relationship and it's getting boring, go on a date. You know, date your mate. Date your mate.
You can't date your business partner.
I mean, you can't date your business partner, but you can revisit. You can have a real conversation. And so if it's getting dull and the business is making you want to move out of the business, have a conversation. Revisit what started. You know what I think we forget? Sometimes we forget about the beginning. And we get so caught up in the story and we get so caught up in getting to the end that we forget about how far we've come. We forget about how great the journey has been. We forget about all the chapters we created. We forget about how strong we are because of what we've been through in this story. And so sometimes it's good to look back but just smile. Not to look back and hold on and hinder the pain, but to look back and smile because look at me now. Look at how I've gotten past that. Look at how our relationship has grown. You know, when I sit and think about us, I'm saying, I don't remember a time when we weren't in love, but what I like most about it is that I can remember the journey. I'm thinking about us being married 15 years and time flying by, but the journey of it was so amazing. And every day wasn't perfect. Oh my goodness. We are two strong-minded people, but because we committed to the story, we were always on the same page, we are able to grow and love on new levels, man. Levels that we didn't even know we were capable of loving on. Did you think you could love somebody this much? I didn't think so. I honestly didn't think so. But I realized the more I love me, the more he loved me.
Let me explain something to you.
Explain it, baby.
We argue every other day.
Every other day.
But she makes me happy every day. It's okay. We go through it, back and forth. Never check you're gonna do that. But as long as they can make you happy every day, then that's where you're supposed to be at. Continue reading your book, please.
Continue reading your book. Continue creating your book, and continue staying on the same page with the love of your life. Continue in those relationships because that's your life partner. That's the person that's supposed to understand you like nobody's business. That's the person that's supposed to catch you when you falling and you don't even know your legs are weak. That's the person that's supposed to look in your eyes and see that you're in need of a hug. That's the person. Those are the relationships that I'm talking about when you feel like that, when you get on the same page. So if you feel like you're far ahead of your in your book, or somebody is stuck behind in your book, take a time out. Take a time out.
Hey,
come together.
The couples retreat is coming.
Oh, it's coming. We putting it together, y'all. Oh, it's gonna be good.
It's like a mountain cabin, something like that, but it's coming. So just stay tuned so you can get your perspective with the Paulings. You know, we ain't God, but we can help you.
I mean, right. And let me tell you something. God uses people.
Yeah.
And so if you continue to wait on God, you're gonna miss everything. You better take advantage of the people that He places in your life. Take advantage of the divine connections that He's given you, because He is using people to get to you. He know He sent somebody. He sent somebody with a message to you. He sent somebody with experience that was gonna help you get out. But as long as you waiting on Him to show up, you're gonna miss your blessing, because He said, "I use people." He's been doing it since the beginning of time, and it's never going to change. So stop getting caught up in what somebody's been through and pay attention to what they have for you. Because everybody's got something for somebody. So never forget that. Never forget that. And so the poem I want to do today is called Self-Admiration. In this world we now live in, we must embrace who we are. For we are searching in everyone else and losing ourselves by far. What image is it that you see that forces you to look for yourself inside of me? Me meaning the idealistic view of the people on TV who appear to be right, which causes your internal being to get into a fight. A fight with the voice in your ear that tells you who you were called to be, and trying to mimic others' lives on your way to your destiny. You see, the path that you take was designed just for you. And knowing who you are is what helps you get through. Get through the trials and tribulations that take you to your dream. But if you're looking through others' eyes, your life cannot be seen. See, you can't get caught on the image of others unless you've walked a day in their shoes and weighing out every aspect of their life filled with dues. Take the time to dream your own dreams and embrace the life that is yours. And know that in this world, we all have our flaws. There is no one worth giving up the life designed for you, even if it seems their life is so beautiful. For the true beauty of life is the whole that you take. And your dreams coming true stems from the choices that you make. So embrace who you are and allow your dreams to be the key to open up the doors of God's blessings He placed in thee. Start by admiring who you are and embrace your own love. And watch how God starts making your dreams flow from above. And so what I'm telling you is that on this week of Perspective with the Paulings, the question is, are you in need of a new book? If you're in need of a new book, then it's time that you stand up in your life and find and change your story and get a new book and put new characters in it and align yourself with people that's going to lift you up and make your story great. If you are in need of a new chapter, then sit down and reevaluate your relationships, every relationship in your life, every area of your life, and you do inventory on it and you decide if you are in need of a new chapter. That means you need to stop what you're doing, get with your partner, and make sure you're on the same page. Because life is nothing if you don't have someone to share that space and that moment with. Life is not as fulfilling when you're alone. And so that's why I want everybody to I choose me and love themselves to life. Because you teach people how to treat you. And so in order for you to have these books that are the visions of your soul, in order for you to have these books that are in line with your divine connection, and so in order for you to create this story that belongs to you, you got to know who you are. And you got to show up in who you are every single day so that people can get used to who you are. And when you are authentic, your relationships are authentic. Your life is authentic. And your life will rise up and meet you because of the greatness that you are allowed to flow out of you. What do you want to say before we go?
So the light was good. Where's your light?
Where's your light? Tune into your light. Love yourself. Trust yourself. And remember our motto. I pledge to embrace who I am today, love who I was yesterday, and inspire who I will become tomorrow. That's what the journey of loving yourself to life is. That's what it requires for you to turn on your light. It requires you to take inventory on your story, to embrace your journey, to know where you're going so that you can get there. Until you know where you're headed, you will never get anywhere. So make sure you have direction, make sure you start your GPS, and make sure you rise up to who you were designed to be. Rise up and meet yourself, because God dwells where you are.
Congratulations.
This guy's silly. And so I just want to say this Friday in the Charlotte area. Wait. We got to tell them about Friday. Friday is first. Turn down the daggone thing.
We went past 30 minutes.
See,
now.
he's ready for our argument for the day. Anyway, first Friday is this Friday. We're celebrating President Obama's birthday. Is his birthday month. His birthday is August 4th. I'm a Leo. My birthday is August 6th. And so it's first Friday at the Little Rock Culture Center from 7 to 10 p.m. We're celebrating your gifts. So show up. It's the I Choose Me hashtag No More Excuses. It's a gallery crawl. And what we do is we come and we celebrate each other. We bring our gifts. It's no cost to come. It's free. You can bring the family. It's a
no, let me say this. If y'all think this is how I feel. If you ain't coming to the free stuff, don't think you coming to the big stuff. Wink, 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 wink. We ain't getting brand new. We just sticking to what we know.
Right. So we got to show up for each other. We got to celebrate each other. We got to love each other.
Now, well, I'm gonna see you later.
So like I said, this Friday at 401 North Meyer Street.
Charlotte.
If you look on the on my page right here, the I Choose Me page, it'll give you the direction of how to get there. You can put the address. But come on, show up, support. Let's celebrate each other. If you have a gift, come and give your gift. In order for you to walk in your light, in order for you to be blessed, in order for you to unlock your other gifts, you got to take care of the one you got. And so come down and let's tap into those gifts so we can celebrate and love each other to life, so we can unite with each other and that we can support each other. And so, like I said, this Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Little Rock Culture Center at 401 North Meyer Street. Please come and celebrate our gifts with each other. Please come and support a movement that is teaching people and showing people to love themselves to life because they were born enough. And so at this time, we just going to wish everybody well. Thank you for tuning in. We love, love, love you. This is our Tuesday Perspective with the Paulings. We celebrate you. We love you. And we say, listen, if you need a new book, start writing it. If you love the book you got, then reinvent it. Make the next chapter better than the last chapter because the power is in your hands. Be authentic every day and you will find out that life is waiting for you. We love you. Until next week.
Next month.
Next month with us. Until next month with us. Until next week with me. We love you. We celebrate you. And we just want to say that.
Here we come, New Orleans.
Here we come. Have a good day. See y'all next week.